Hello guys, hope you're all doing okay. The day has finally come, I'm gonna finish this fucking project. It's been 6 months, I think, since we started it. Granted, there was that 2-month break in the middle. Total amount of work that kind of went into this has been, I think it's just like 140 hours is what it's like timed at. Factoring in like time spent off stream as well. So yeah, it's taken a while. But yeah, so we have our basic comps, which I did off stream last week. And so what we've got here is just like the latest renders plugged into those, and obviously like rescaled the rotos and stuff to fit the new resolution. But yeah, so this stream could be any length. It could end up being 20 minutes. It could end up being 3 hours, although I hope not. We're just going to tweak things until it looks the way we want it to. And then we will go from there, kind of, you know, just pretty it up, really. Next project is going to be ready to start in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I got the first concepts today from Katie, and they're looking really good. This is a small few notes. So I'm looking forward to kind of sharing that, like starting that series as well. But yeah, so we got 3 images to grade, and we also have a wireframe render. So obviously wireframe render, we might do some kind of cool breakdown image thing, like maybe we can wipe this onto the render with the same lighting, which is, I believe, primary light rig. I need to rename that. This one I ended up calling photoshoot. But yeah, so we could end up doing some kind of breakdown image, just kind of, you know, blending between that and this, because they should match resolution-wise. Obviously, they're just what do I call it? One of them's been like put to a new aspect ratio, but the actual render's the same resolution, same camera. So, but yeah, so the renders we need to work on are. Give it a moment. We got this one, which is like the flash photo effect, which in color is this. Oh yeah, that God rays is way too much. Also chromatic aberration, sorry. We got that. We got the photo shoot, which is more warm lighting. So if I go to here, that's the full render. Might change the ratio of it, the crop, but I'm not sure. I kind of like this, like having a different ratio for it. And then the last one, which is going to be the main one for the project, is this guy. This is one where we've actually got the smoke in there. I kind of need to work on the blend. They're not one-to-one. This feels a bit more blue. Mine feels a little bit warmer. In fact, we can actually check. I'll have to turn off the transform, but we can get all that working. But yeah, so I guess we'll start with the photoshoot light rig. So there's a few things I'm gonna want to do. In fact, no, we'll start with this one. I'm gonna want to kind of boost the eyes a little bit, get a little bit more of a caustic thing going on, which shouldn't be too difficult, to be honest. And we'll just kind of see where it takes us. First thing I'm going to do, though, is change the bokeh shape, because I don't really like the shape it currently is. So let's just do this. There it is, blades. So let's go to 12 blades. There we go. Just a little bit rounder. We could even just go to disc, just to get a really smooth one. Although we do lose our edge, so let's keep the blades, but let's just go to an obscene number like 24 blades. I'm not sure what's a realistic range for blades, to be honest, but just something that's round. Gives us a nice effect. So, rounded out that. We do also have the desaturate thing, which the rotos don't line up. But yeah, we do have that. Let's just quickly line that up, may as well. Do something like that. Cool. Don't know when that got moved. So this one we want quite a small bleed. It's the other one we want more of a bleed on. Let's go to this one. Let's give it a 2 pixel bleed. That'll do. Maybe 4 pixel and then scale it down. There we go. Then the other one, we'll give that a 4 pixel bleed as well, because that works well. And then we'll just scale it. There we go. Okay, there we go. So that could be quite a pretty effect. Not too keen on the fall off it's got, but we can figure that out. So let's delete that. So I kind of want to, boost the eyes is going to be the first thing I do. So with that being the case, what I'm going to want to do, I should really have not backdropped it yet, but let's just move all of this stuff up. Okay, so we're gonna, in fact, we'll copy all this stuff in. And then I might actually just clear this out. I'll pretty up the graph in a moment. Let's just get all this stuff out. Delete that. Okay, so what we want to do is isolate the transmission. So I'm going to need another read node, which I can copy this guy for. So I'm going to want the transmission from this, because I'm not rebuilding the beauty from my AOVs. I'm just going to like hack it basically. But a trick you can do is merge, I think it's from or minus. So if we just do a from operation, okay, that gives us the opposite what we want, so we'll do minus. Okay, we'll have to do from and then just mix the order. Oh wait, yeah, I'm an idiot. Okay. So we've got that merged out, but then we want to merge it back in. So let's do a grade. Then merge plus. It's been a while since I did this, so a little bit rusty. So we'll set this to plus, and then what we'll see is that these are identical. Sorry, these are identical. There you go. So that means we're kind of free to do whatever we want here. In which case, I'm going to gain it up if I want. We can kind of mess about with the exact color, but what I want to do is use it to make a caustic effect. So I'm going to create a roto node. I'm also going to just quickly disconnect that. So let's roto you. Oh, that's not what I want. That's what I want. Don't know why I did that. It's fully in autopilot. So bring that over. Let's just set this grade to like multi it way up. Stuff like that. And what we can do is just place a vague caustic shape. So let's do a Bezier curve. And lighting is there, so this is going to be the bright bit. So let's just Or is it smooth? So it's going to do something like that. I always forget about the way they interact. So if we copy, duplicate, grab that guy, move him over to the other right, we'll have to adjust its position slightly, because obviously the Corsic won't be in the exact same place on both of them. But now we can see how that gives us that boost. Cool. So, we need to tighten it up a little bit, but I think that will... Maybe it's just the ones on the inside. Yeah, we need to scale them all, don't we? And then resize the outside. There we go. So, we only want to boost it a little bit, we don't want to go crazy with it. The key is subtlety. 1.2. Then we might multiply it, or maybe gain it actually. Add a tiny, like, touch more blue. Let's see what doing 2 does, okay. So let's do like 1.2. No, it's actually the opposite of what we want. 0.9 perhaps. No, we don't want that, okay. At no point did I claim I'm a nuke expert. That's a nice little boost. So, let's just backdrop. I'm going to drag all of this stuff out of the backdrop for now, just so I got a lot more freedom of movement. Okay, so get all these guys, do that with them. There we go. So, let's clean up this a little bit. So we got that working, and we had our back, our smoke even. Okay. So these are fairly closely color matched, but not quite. Let's just turn off that transform. It's a little bit brighter in the red than it should be. Or darker, sorry, in the red. Let's, is this color correct? It is this color correct. So if we turn that off, it's super dark. So like, this is how it renders by default. Not very well matched. So let's add a touch more red. Let's say 0.6. And green. And blue. Touch more blue as well. It's weird, that feels too purple now. Let's go back to 4.5, and let's step this up a tiny bit differently actually. Let's go 5.7. Five. It feels a touch dark now. A little bit less green. But that looks good. Okay, so we got that. Next thing is the transform. So the transform is just forcing in a little bit of a chromatic aberration, but it's only doing it on the smoke. I just thought it would look kind of cool. I'm going to change the strength of it though. Just so we got a little bit more of a subtle effect. The smoke is still a bit noisy too, but this kind of helps that a little bit. What I'm wondering... Let me just try something. Blur. And I'm just going to do a merge. Then invert the order of that. What happens if I do this? Kind of softens up the edges a little bit. But without removing all detail, because if we just do that, let's see. Yeah, because I don't want to remove all the detail, but I do quite like that effect there. This is the opposite of what I want. Okay, so is there an under? Under, there is. So I can just quickly disable that. Okay, so we just want to okay. I'm going to move these apart separately a little bit more. Okay. A little bit of that going. Then we transform it. That feels a bit healthier. Oh yeah, I didn't let this render finish, so the buckets are rendered in, but they're gone, so it doesn't really matter. It took a really long time for this to get clean, so I just gave it like ungodly settings and left it going, and when I got back it was clean enough to use without being finished. It's interesting that it's getting all this stuff in there. Like, it's catching the displacement that the coat has, but it's doing it in these triangle patterns. But yeah, so I think that smoke's working a bit better than it was. Might quickly gain it down to a tiny bit. Just gonna add a secondary grade just so I can control it a bit more finely. I mean, what I could do, if I wanted to like have a gradient towards the sides, I could also map this so that it's like matches the tone here, but then fades to darker. For now, I'll leave that out. Let's see where it gets to here. This is my shitty rim light, which is working well enough. Although, so technically having the, I'll say technically, artistically as well, having this aberration before the rim light makes no sense. But I kind of like the effect it gives. It's a really cool look. I'm going to keep it. But basically all I'm doing here is I'm taking the image, I'm edge detecting the alpha, which is giving me this look, and then blurring that, grading it. There we go. Using that alpha basically to grade an image, which I'm setting to be really bright. And then I'm just going in and merging that back in. So the size of this blur is effectively the size of the rim light and also the softness of it. So if I set it to 60, we get a larger, softer rim light. And it goes around the entire alpha, which might be what you want, might not be what you want, but... And the strength of it visibly is set by this guy. I'm going to set that down to like 40 maybe. So obviously the thing to be aware of is that it is quite sensitive. Like if I just do that, it's really weird. I don't like it on this side. If that's too... I'm going to set that to be a bit stronger, but then I'm also going to rotor it. And that kind of gets what I want. So, let's create a roto. It's too strong right now, but we'll fix that. So what I'm going to do is say where I want this to be. Or where I don't want it to be, technically, I can do... Yeah, we'll do a negative shape. So let's just do something like that. Okay, so we can just invert that. There we go. So now it's just wherever that roto isn't, we'll get the rim light. So we get that sharp line. And we'll just set a generic feather of like 50 pixels. Maybe 100. Okay. In fact, I'm gonna turn off that feather. It's better to art control. Don't like art director stuff anyway. This stuff up here doesn't make a difference, but... Okay, there we go. That feels a bit better. Cool, I'm happy with that. Then we get the background, which we merge again. Vignette that. So the problem I got now is that these don't really colour match very well. So this is the one where we want to... add a hue shift. I'm just going to slide it to that more purple. Don't know what that's doing to him. something off balance to this. Hey Fabio, how's it going, man? And yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. You recently launched the Godfeather tool, right? I feel like I need to slightly blur the alpha in this guy, but only in the smoke. So if I just blur the alpha channel, I'm aware this is going to go to complete shit, but what happens? Blur alpha? Yeah. Why is blurring the alpha not? Do I need to pre-mull it? Okay, how about we roto? Yes, release a feather tool. I'm trying to get some consistency with the streaming. Asset creation. What's the picture you have in the background? So I used Midjourney a while ago to create a small texture library. This one, I set the prompts to grease and grime, like literally just grease and grime, and it gave me this. Which is interesting. It looks cool, so I figured I can use it. So then all I'm doing is reformatting it to the projects, shuffling an alpha into it, grading it with a little roto. So this is the most crazy precise grade I've done. This single bit here becomes a terrible color with the bokeh, so I'll turn that off and I'll show you what I mean. If I add the bokeh, we get this like sickly yellow bokeh shape. So let's give it a moment. Please just let me zoom out. So we get this yellow bokeh shape, and it's like the only one in the image. So I've got this tiny grade just to go in. This defocus doesn't like cache properly. But yeah, there we go. So it goes from yellow to this orange color, which I think fits this a lot better. But yeah, and then this is a node from online by this guy, which is really, really good. But yeah, so then we're grading it and merging it. So what if I roto this? Again, I'll invert. In fact, no, I won't. delete these points thing. That gives us some kind of effect. What I could do, I'm gonna try something here. Let's get you over there, get you here. This might be a dead end, I just want to see how it looks. Because like this is, in fact, yeah, then it's gonna look terrible no matter what to do. I think it's darkened towards the edges, although I guess the vignette's handling that for me. What if I apply the vignette here as well? It's getting lost. Boost that slightly. Okay. Okay, let's come back to this in a moment with fresh eyes. What happens if I disable? That's not really making a difference. Okay. Speaking of glow, set a glow. That's exactly what we want. Okay, let's set the tolerance. What's the tolerance of, what's the strength of this pixel? 2.5. It's obviously too much, I'm just testing it. Let's change the size. Let's go down to 8. It's like anime. Okay, maybe 15 was right, but the strength is... There we go. Works for me. I feel like I need the background to have its extra vignette, maybe. Kind of helps. I mean, it's obviously doubling up a vignette, but it helps the smoke not feel too disjointed. Let me try doing another quick grade. I realised there's something I could do that might help. Let's turn that off for a moment. Go into gain. And just shift it towards magenta. That helps. I'm stacking, like, adding stacks upon stacks of grades on top of grades, but oh, it's disabled. Okay. I was like, why is it not changing? That works. It's just not as disjointed. Like, this is too green. This feels about right. What if we stack that on top? Getting these back out, which is good. I think that works for me. The number of grades. I have to name some of these. Transform does exactly what you think it would. Let's see if there's any of these I can remove. So if I remove this, for example, does anything change? No, it doesn't. Alright, cool. So we'll remove that. That might be a byproduct from something else. Reformat. Yeah, so that changes quite a lot. Although that's kind of a cool look. It's not what I want at all, but it's cool. Let's get that in there. So reformat on its own, that's pretty obvious. Transform, that's obviously just moving things around. Yeah. Basically, I really liked this shape, this circle, and so I just transformed it until that fit. We just happened to get this really nice like bokeh over here. This node does not cache properly. And this one made quite a big difference, right? Yeah, that does quite a lot. Again, in its own right, it looks alright, but it does quite a lot of work. And reformatting. Oh, yeah, that's necessary. Reformat pre-DOF. The reason I'm reformatting is because this focus node, defocus node, centers around image center automatically. You can't set, unless Mapbox is it, but maybe, I don't know. So I need that to kind of set it up ahead of time. So what I'm going to do, bring that up here, bring that down. What's this grid doing? Darken. What's this grid doing? Okay. So what I can do is copy these settings to the gain in this guy, or the multiply. Let's just copy all this. Okay. So now I can delete that. Okay, and then we can add that vignette back in. And then let's just separate these like visibly, just so you can see the different steps. Where's this? Does it change if I put it here? They're different results, aren't they? So I'll get rid of that one. Okay. Yeah, because that will change how bright and large the bokeh are. So yeah, that will change things. Okay, so we got that. That seems to be working okay. So we got that guy. Let's call him done for now, temporarily. Backdrop. Oh, yeah, that's the old one. Okay, next one. This guy. This one's going to be a bit more subtle, I think, like changes we make. Again, we will do a little eye kind of pop, but in fact, we can even copy paste it. Did this happen to get the same color? It did. Okay, so we're going to copy paste this. Naturally, parts of it aren't going to work, but that's fine. Oh, hello. So what we're going to find here is that they're not a visual match. So one, the rotor's in the wrong place, but two, this isn't the same render. So we'll go to photo shoot and we're looking for transmission main. Cool. And then we just need to move this rotor. We do need to move it quite a lot, actually. In fact, there we go. Maybe even a little bit higher up. Okay. Got the other one. Okay. So now, let's just move you over here for a moment. Okay, a lot of wasted space in this one. There we go. So, to get to here. Oh, there's no alpha. There's an alpha here, though. This needs to be moved. Why am I doing that after... Oh, wait, because... Yeah, okay. I was getting very confused, though. Okay. Okay. We get you in there. Expose it up. Then expose it up even more. Obviously this edge glow is crazy. It's just to get it working. Although I think in this case we really don't want much of it. I might just use it as like a sheen effect for the clothing. So rotate it out of everywhere. So let's increase that blur quite a lot. Set that to 100 for a moment. Let's set you to 60. And then just quickly maybe even go 80. That feels healthier. I'm just looking at the shoulder right now. Yeah, we can rotate that in. Toto. Roto. So we're just going to do two rotor shapes. Let's roto in the shoulder. In fact, we just run it on the code, don't we? Cusp. Okay. Let's just make this obnoxiously bright for a while. We're going to need one at the corner to get the effect we want. And all this stuff down here doesn't matter, right? Because it doesn't actually change anything. I'll just like vaguely match it. It doesn't technically matter though. Cool. So we got that. Then the other side, we'll do the same thing. Let's create another one of these. Okay. So let's just pull him back a little bit. Smooth him up. That will do. Okay, so set brightness that works. Too much. There we go. So actually the bright bit is at the bottom of the eye. Come on, just let me... There we go. I need it to be more focused. Like out here. That works actually. The difference is too much. So let's grade it by 1.2. Maybe even 1.1. Has to be subtle. So the lighting is a lot more subtle in this shot. So you can't just like crank things the same way. Okay. I think we want the grain on this one. Maybe we do. as we keep it subtle. Wow, that's a really nice, interesting look to the tie. Yeah, let's keep this grain in there. Nice subtle grain. That's horrific. That does not work in this one. Okay, so what's the last thing? We can do a transform. Transform mast, which we need to do before you. I think before you. We're just going to transform green, scale it. And that gives you a very fake, but somewhat handy aberration effect. Beautiful. If you do it small enough, it only really affects the bright spots that much, because they have the bigger gradient, like value difference, I mean. Let's go even smaller. This gives you a little something, you know? And it's subtle enough to not affect the hairs anymore. That's good. And the closer you are to this point, the better. Doesn't affect that. But does affect out here. Does get there. Yeah, I like that. Do I ever know what I want to do to this? Like, we have a vignette. Subtle, but... I was actually wondering how you got the eyes looking like that with the Corsic hitting a right angle. So that it's not entirely fake. There is that a good amount of it is being done in a shader. If I go to this guy, so that's the raw render. It was which one was the best example? Might not be in any of these, but it does like get it on its own. But yeah, enhancing it never hurts. But it's all down to lighting. You can get the effect pretty strongly if I show. There's an eye I did a while ago where I intentionally rendered it with that effect. So yeah, the shader itself is flawed, so you're getting like these blown up bits. This is my old setup. But as long as you set up the refraction correctly, you get the effects. You get the gradient that people look for. And it's actually, once you've figured out how to do the refraction correctly, it actually comes about naturally. The hard bit to get is this motherfucker, this glow on the edge, where it's like sharp on one side and glows on the other, but all in shader. That's a fucking bitch to get right. It's just like, it's not difficult, it just takes a lot of like back and forth. Yeah, but I always like to, I mean, Corsics are so important to the way an eye looks that whenever I'm doing a still, I can't help but like enhance it even slightly. Like you feel like you just have to. This isn't doing anything. Okay, that's the fall off. Yeah, it's a tiny, tiny extra bit. I've tested using extra lights with transmission only to enhance Cortex. Yeah, it can look really, really good. Like, I feel like if you was to set up a light within the rig itself, it shouldn't be too difficult, I guess. If you have like a position like slider to say like what angle it's at, and then another slide to say how steep it is relative to the eye, and then just parent whatever the result is to the eyeball, it would like always follow. You could get a pretty cool effect with that if you needed like a specific angle all the time, which I don't know, some people might. So I can delete this because we're not using that. Okay, let's move this down. This is going to be the most simple of the grades, I think. So what happens if we, let's do a defocus. In fact, I'm going to copy. So obviously don't want that much. And we're going to go with 8 blades on this render. And then let's just massively pull back the maximum. Let's go 50. Let's go to the bottom. Do we like what that does? That's a bit too much. Let's go 10. We've already kind of got that field in the image, I guess. All we're doing is destroying it even more. So let's get rid of that. I might add a I might add like a dust. Is that X-Gen, by the way? No, this is Yeti. Next project will be X-Gen, because next project's groom is a little bit more styled, so we need the control that X-Gen gives. But no, this is Yeti 4. Which, to give Yeti credit, Yeti 4 is a lot better for digitables than it used to be, because of the new clumping algorithm. It's actually alright now. It's still not easy to control, but it's better than it used to be. So we got this guy. Yeah, I want to get some kind of dust in there. So let's go... Let me try something. Because I did a fake dust in this guy. But yeah, we'll copy that. Let's just take this. Delete that. It's just kind of snuck in there. Wait, what? Where's all this stuff? Wait, did I never... Huh. That's better. Why did I not hook that up? There we go. So let's copy all of this now. And we can delete these. I'll explain what this stuff is doing in a moment. Okay, so basically, we're getting a noise, which looks like this, and defocusing it. But to get a little bit more interest in the bokeh shape, we are starting off with a different defocus, which is set to output filter shape setup. That allows us to use this to control the exact shape, but the bit that kind of requires us to separate it out is that I'm also multiplying that with a noise. So we end up with a bokeh shape that has like a bit of breakup to it. And that little bit of breakup makes such a big difference. So if I go to one where it's actually doing anything, so if we go here, we look at all this stuff. If I disable that merge, it's just dead. Like, it's so uninteresting. Obviously the image itself has native interest, but each bokeh shape is just dull. If you add that back in, you get a really nice breakup in there. And each one has the same one, so it actually is consistent with your, like, it's almost as if the lens itself has the breakup, which is what we want in this case. So we're just going to put these down here, put you there, move you way up. Come on. That'll do. And that allows us to add these little like dust particles floating in the air. The only problem we have is that there's no Z depth, so we technically need. I mean, we can create a Z depth. Let's try this. Copy RGBA red to what's depth. So we got this guy, and then if we go to the depth channel, we have that. So then when we plug this in, so now, if we set this guy depth, it's not working. Oh wait, yeah, that's why. That works. We just need less breakup in the actual. Yeah, that actually does kind of work. So I'm just gonna do a grade so I can see everything. This is like a preview grid. Whack that up. So if we go into this noise, set it to have 1 octave. And just set it to be smaller. Yeah, so what we want to avoid is having it so that it's small enough to like catch different bokeh. So we want it to be like that big roughly. That gives us an illusion of having different depths. But yeah, that kind of worked. Okay. So, this is disgusting. Let's make this Another straight lines in comp. Yep. Has to be straight lines. The bit that bothers me the most right now is that this B pipe is coming from the side, which I'm about to fix now I've noticed it. Let's just spend a moment cleaning all this up. So move you way off. So we need to switch the angle of these two. Put you over here. Pipe down. Okay, so we got those two. Move that up and out of the way. Then we've got this guy. I need to move that over, don't I? Although my A pipes are going in different directions. It's almost worse. Generally speaking, I'd use a layout like this. Although, is there a way to quickly mirror a backdrop node? There isn't, is there? That is what I wanted, actually. There we go. So I can drag you over here. And it does require moving the whole thing, but honestly, I'd rather that. Let's just move that up and out. Oh, disgusting. How are you not contained? There we go. Let's get all that out of the way. Pull you that way. So much wasted space, that's the problem now. If we pull these up. There we go. That feels better. We're going to want to copy this node over here, but yeah, so let's just create V5. There we go. So now we just want to set that to be the subtlety that we need. I wonder what would happen if we put a glow on the result of this, though. So the glow is always going to be a little bit strange. Grade. Let's just do a test run. 0.1. .05. That'll do. So now we can do a glow on this. Actually, can't the defocus itself do that? Yeah, it can. It's an idiot. Bloom. Just catches the brightest ones, plucks them out. You're right. Transform next. Good chat, man. RGB. Let's view it from here because they're a little bit more visible at this stage. And then we're just going to transform green channel 0.01. Let's just do it really over top. That's kind of sick. So now let's find an appropriate strength. Kind of works. So now we just found a strength. So about here. Multiply math. This will get us more variation. It's not actually doing anything. Weird. Not clamping. Huh. Something's missing. Is there anything I can extract from a normal map? I love the way the blue channel looks. I was looking for stuff that might be interesting to like extract from these. I always forget that actually. Grid. So we need to multiply it by 0.5 and offset it by 0.5 and just leave the green alone. So now we can actually get the full. Oh, it's B that we want to leave alone, not green. Maybe add some highlights, bring back fabric details. Maybe. I could add like a glittery effect. Potentially. Let's have a quick look. The blue channel is so dark in this image. The red channel looks so strange. That red channel just looks uncomfortable. Is that how it is in here? Not far off. I feel like my texture just needs more red variation. Although to be fair, it is a red light, which is going to push things a bit. I feel like we could get something out of this. If I take that blue channel, grade, I'm going to shuffle as well, just to make things a little bit more visible as to what I'm doing. Okay, so let's black point this all the way up. Maybe not all the way up. could gamma that, maybe. Nah, it's gonna give really weird looks. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens if I crank that. Like, ignore the face. That eye looks fascinating when we do that. Like, I know the eye itself isn't going to change much, but that looks interesting. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get anything too meaningful out of that. If I had an ISO for the hair, like a mask just for the hair, I'd be able to get some cool glittery effects out of it. Like, yeah, the metallic face is weird, right? There's something very fascinating to what it's doing around the meniscus, though. Like, again, doesn't look good, but it's kind of interesting. It's weird how much it makes the eyes feel dead. Kind of digging away just the hair. There we go. Beautiful grade. Final, ready for client sound. Oh. Hold on a second. Kind of like this gamma effect. Just bringing out some tiny... There's something interesting to this. Beautiful. Nah, I'll leave it out because that gets cropped anyway. I feel like we should move on to the... God, my eyes are fucked now. I'm looking at this and it feels metallic. But it's not metallic. Something feels off though. I'm going to change the blend mode of this guy to screen. Okay. Something feels really off. I'm going to go look at some other images for a bit. Okay, so this one, I think we're happy with this one. Kind of want to shift this a little bit. Not that much though. Yeah, it feels better. Alright. Although that might be where it was before. I think just setting it up kind of made me realise it was okay where it was. Okay, so we're happy with that one. We're calling that one final. This one, something is off, but we'll get back to it. Those are doing that. Is it the value range? if I saturation this? It's a value range. That feels so much better. Oh. Yeah, there we go. That's what it was. Cool. I knew there was something. Flipping it would help. Actually, a good point. I don't know. How do you? Is there a way to quickly flip? I know you can do a transform and set it to -1, but like, if we just scale -1. Oh. Oh no. I don't like that. The hair on the side is so mirror node. Oh, okay. Let's flip it vertically. Yeah, the hair silhouette on this side is... That should be a bit more up. Like here. Granted, we can kind of fix that with a warp. Let's try to grid warp that. Let's give it a go. We have to grid warp the result. Oh, that's not what I want. Grid warp. So it's this area here. So we definitely need to subdivide. How do you... Okay, let's subdivide that one more time. And then we want to subdivide this. Oh, we actually don't want that. Camera is slightly biased towards a side as well. Yeah, so I did want it to be off to one side slightly. This render is a lot more centered. It's still like, I think it's 1 degree off or 2 degrees off. These ones like 5 degrees off. I don't like rendering from direct front. Unless you mean him not being in center, but that is a crop. So I can always just move that. Without the crop, he is almost at center. Okay. Okay. So now that helps a lot actually. That's a good call on mirroring it, man. I'm gonna need to replicate that on the other one as well. Yeah, that helps a lot. Okay, let's check. I'm going to increase this a little bit, just so we get a little bit more of a smoother transition. And then we need to find... Impulse is always the one that maintains the most detail, but it's also the most brutal. keys can look pretty good. Oh, these aren't changing much. Impulse. Yeah, so impulse creates splits. Luckily it's hair that's slightly out of focus, so we actually barely see anything. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Does anything feel particularly off balance to you, Becca? Something was pointed out, and... Wait, watch this. Like, it was so smooth before.
Oh yeah.
I never noticed.
More square.
I've just done a grid warp, but that helps a lot. It was Johnny that suggested flipping the image, and I was like, oh god, oh god, this doesn't work.
Why is his face so flat?
I need to copy that over to another one before I forget. Yeah, I've just done a grid warp. Luckily it's the hair, and hair you can get away with a lot of bullshit. You think anyone will notice that the crease has changed direction if I just like submit a mirrored render? That's the original. There's something.
I think it's because you normally read the line in the way that you read comics present. So like because we read from left to right in like Western world. That's why it works.
Yeah, but I was wondering because this guy is lit from the right and is rim lit on the left. This one is lit from the left and rim lit on the right, and now is flipped. And then you got this guy's lit from the front, so it doesn't make a difference. Wait, I just copied that to the wrong place. I hate how big of a difference that makes. Like, I really hate that. It's the tiniest thing that would have taken no time to fix and groom, but I just never noticed it until now. I hate that so much. The kicker is I then need to do the same thing on this guy on the wireframe so that they all match. Right, save. But yeah, so I kind of prefer it mirrored, but I don't know if that's just because, like, I just like having a different image. Like if I've just got blind to it. What if I mirror it after the crop? Does it make a difference? It's weird how one looks like he's almost looking directly forward and the other one looks like he's looking quite far off to the side. That is pure eye bias, but like... Wait, does this... Oh, it does make a difference. Okay. So which one do we like more? I want... If I change this one... It can switch center. If I change this one, it just switches sides and stays more balanced. I think this one works. I just have to deal with the fact that the hair's going the opposite direction now. Oh wait, So the amount that he's looking forward, like the feeling, doesn't change that much with this one. But it does change quite a lot with this one. So just where he is in frame completely changes how it feels. Oh, that's why. Okay. So, this one feels like a camera move. And this one feels like he's moving. The reason being is that eye is barely moving. Like, visually, all that's really happening is the highest point of this is going here. Whereas with this guy, the entire eye is in a new location. So you read it differently. Like, and the only reason we're reading it that way, I feel, is because with A being it, like, it wouldn't feel any different. I'm going to commit to this one, I think. No, this one. Yeah, I'm going to commit to this one. Okay. So, back to the photo shoot. Sorry, the flash photo thing. So now we need to figure this one out. Let's walk through. So, what I'm doing in this one is I'm starting off with image, copying in the normals and position, which actually I never end up using, so we can probably delete that out, simplify the node graph. Color correcting that just to make it slightly, and I mean slightly warmer. That's like how much we're doing, 0.025 extra warmth. And then I'm exposing that up a tiny bit. This guy is to darken the edges. Now the way I'm doing that is I'm taking the Z-depth, shuffling it all, grading it to give me this effect, and then using that as a mask on an exposure, which I'm exposing down with. So you're kind of getting a bit of a better flash effect on the camera. This is basically just to compensate for me not setting light fall off correctly. So we'll keep that, because I like what that's doing. That naturally has a carry-on effect to the rim light, which isn't able to actually do anything anymore. Alright, I'm not viewing it, never mind. It's too bright, and I think not blurred enough. So let's set you to 80, set you to 50. I think it's still too bright. So visually, this is not the same as this. We just get a different fall-off feeling to it, ignoring the hair move. So like that, we then do a chromatic aberration, which is subtle. And the photo's getting desaturated anyway, so we kind of lose quite a bit of it. We're then adding the background, add the foreground dust, which is very subtle in this one. And so we got a shadow boost, which we kind of need. Grading the left pupil, which is mainly because of the red eye effect, which I think I prefer it without, to be honest. So we'll delete that. We don't want any kind of caustic effect on this because it's lit from the front. I see what you mean, it does look a bit fake though. Do you mean the fall off on this guy? Let me just disable that one. Yeah, I guess it does. I can grade it a little bit differently. Let's set the black point to 85. And then, in fact, let's set to 88 a moment ago. Let's just try gamma. Okay, we need that to be 84. sure what it is that's making it feel so fake. Because as an image it helps, but I see what you mean, yeah, it does look quite fake. It's the ears that make it look fake. Or more fake. I'll come back to it. So we've got the God Rays. So the God Rays job is extremely subtle. Basically, because I wanted this to feel like an older photo with a slower shutter, I've got a God Rays, and I'm using it to effectively do a motion blur. So if I set this to like 10, there you go. You didn't render light groups. No, I didn't. And plus this one's only lit from one light anyway. Well, it's got HDRI. But the issue is that my light doesn't have any fall off on it. Or it doesn't have any like decent fall off. Let's just move that over there. But yes, I'm using this God Rays to like mimic a motion blur effect. And then the amount of rotation is the amount of motion blur effectively. I just wanted it to feel like an old photo. Obviously not too old, like it's more of like a 90s thing, but that's 0.2. So that's too much. Because this to me feels way too sharp. Like way too sharp. And the other images show details more. This is more just to feel more organic, I guess. Is the purpose of this image. Kind of want a little bit more than that. Might be a bit much. I wonder if I could do like a rolling shutter effect. I think this grain kind of gives it a extra touch of sharpness without the detail. Oh, without the detailed original image. That's what I meant to say. Not sure what to do about this one. Tie looks so bad in this lighting. You know, tie is probably the weakest bit of clothing, to be honest. In all of its missing the mid-frequency stuff, like the shader on this is, you know, it's got nice details and stuff, but it's missing like seam lines and that sort of stuff. But I feel like the tie is feeling very fake, this bit. Normal's just not strong enough, I think. I'm gonna connect two things up. We could do a cool transition with these, I think. Right, yeah, let me play with it. I'm just doing something to kind of get me away from the images for a moment. I see Jonathan is directing. Yeah, Jonathan's been given some really helpful tips. Is the Discord ready? No, not yet. I swear, it literally has been made. I just need to get around to setting up the bots. What the hell? Where the hell's my alpha going? Where on earth is my alpha? Why don't I have an alpha? And I can just copy it, but like, why? Do I have an alpha up here at least? I don't. Maybe something's going on here. Ugh, was that it the whole time? Yeah, okay, there we go. This motherfucker right here. Okay, so we can just copy it from you. Look at this node layout. There we go. Ooh. This isn't going smoothly, is it? There we go. Jesus. That took way too fucking long. I feel like that's the best combo. So it's visually interesting to look at. Which one did I settle on for this guy? Because they need to match. Not you. Not you. Not you. Third time's a charm. Okay, I settled on that side. Having the nose be excluded is a bit of a weird move, actually. I could animate this. Right. Let's just... We got a little shuffle there. I can't be dealing with that. B. Alright, wrong one. Beautiful thing.
Is it corn?
Is it corn? Even better, it's a watermelon. Yeah, that works way better. So we'll delete that. Are you guys in Montreal? Yes, we are. Here for the foreseeable. We need to crop that, don't we? Too much dead space. Censor it around tip of the nose, sure. Reformat. Both work in Micros. No, we don't. Becca works at Micros as a surfacing artist, and I work at Digital Domain Oh, Doris.
Remember Doris?
Yeah, she was at Blue Zoo, right?
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, Doris is lovely.
She's at, no, I'm asking, does she know?
What, sorry?
Lisa, lighting. I think Doris is lighting. Or come up with your picture.
Doris was lighting, I think.
Doris, woo!
Yeah, Doris is lovely. Real talented as well. I didn't get to work with her very much when I was at Blue Zoo, but what I saw was good. Okay. I'm gonna pull back the roto at the chin, I think. It's a bit too much being caught there. What? You know, David. Self-sing sleep. Oh, yeah.
He's my supervisor! How do you know David? Wait, I'm gonna let me creep your LinkedIn. Oh, yeah, Broad Bag! Shit! That would be why. It's a really small industry. I will.
You ready to see some beautiful animation, guys? That beautiful. Why though? I know I can just animate the rotor itself, but like, why though? Spline key. Nah, I don't like it. Also, this motherfucker came back. Okay, we'll undo all that. Okay. Beautiful. Hide input. Can you postcard a dot node? Huh? If we do a transform node. There we go. Let's bring that over here. Oh, no, don't worry, guys. I'm happy you guys just taking over the comments.
Like having a teachable moment that can be connecting.
I'm learning shit. I like learning stuff. Does the node lose its... It doesn't. Alright, cool. There we go. That looks way cleaner, despite actually being a mess. I think that works. Okay, so renders we have. We have 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to use the color one ever, so let's get rid of that. Which means we can get rid of that, which means we can move you. Okay. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I like it pre-mirroring? For the breakdown image, I might just not mirror it. For the breakdown, do I do that or do I do that? I prefer this visually. The model's symmetrical, so the topology is on both sides. And this is more interesting to look at. Are you going to render a turnaround? This deserves more. No. My poor PC would not do that. Render times are already north of 2 hours at this resolution. And the problem with using Katana right now is that I don't have a render farm. So it's just like, I'm not sure. And I guess the kicker is Foundry are probably going to be giving away this asset, so if people can do turnarounds before I do. Like, I'll leave it up to you guys. So I won't render my turntables, you'll render my turntables. I do like full wireframes. Okay. So you think this is better? Okay, well, to make this image more interesting, because the reason I've done this one is because this is boring to me.
Mike, I feel like you like Jonathan's personal project.
Huh?
Guitar boy.
He's got a guitar? Oh.
Yeah. Look, the guitar.
Oh, that's cool. See my link so I can see it in high res.
Yes. No, you can only see it in the top.
Yeah, I only want to see a low res postage stamp from across the room. You could have both. Yeah, but I know, feels a bit much. There we go. That's better. Yeah, these are cool. Okay, so this is better. Should we tint it towards a color? That's better. I just need some kind of visual interest. I'm very easily bored, is something I've found out about myself. Like, incredibly easily bored. Which I think plays to my strength, sometimes. Very rarely. That's better.
You've been with me for 4 years. I take that as a compliment.
What, sorry?
You've been with me for 4 years. I take that as a
I wouldn't say I've been with you for 4 years. I'd say you've managed to be with me for 4 years.
I take it as a compliment though. You're not been bored yet.
Like, congratulations. Like, you've made it far, Becca. You've made it further than any other person,
Did I get a secret?
including my dad.
Christ.
I found you can't share this one anymore.
Dad jokes in the line.
Okay, so I'm gonna delete.
Or like just ignore the joke.
Yeah, I'll delete that. What, sorry?
Or they'll just ignore the joke.
I mean, to be fair, my stream's already a wasteland of, like, shit, so.
I can sing the corn song in the background for like an hour and a half.
It's corn. I'm really glad that the shape here was noticed. The thing is, do I want to grid warp this one now as well? To, like, fix that up. Obviously it has to be a different grid warp because the cameras aren't the same, but let me just throw in a grid warp on this. Oh, for fuck's sake. Grid warp. Okay, so let's subdivide you vertically, subdivide you vertically, subdivide you horizontally. That's not what I want. Subdivide you horizontally. And subdivide you horizontally. Subdivide you vertically. Okay, we'll play more subtle on this one. It makes him feel off balance. Feels a little bit better. I'll do it a little bit less. I know there is a blend in here, but I prefer just to move these. There we go, that's better. I think that'll do. I'm gonna try something, and it's gonna look awful, but I just want to try it anyway. What if I had a god rays behind here? What's the name of it? Invert. I think you need to invert the alpha, right? No. We're not gonna get what we want out of that. There was... is it flare I was thinking of? Yeah, that's the one. Wait, is that literally... oh, that's sick. You do some crazy stuff with flows, I imagine. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, there's the size difference, but that doesn't. I think that's just the viewport because it arranges by width. I think the height just gets scaled. Are these what we're calling final? Why does this feel like my old marmoset renders? I used to always do slightly blue gradients in backgrounds for my old renders, like when I first started off with real time. I'll say first, like 2 years in to learning CG, I used marmoset for all my presentation. Cool. Project's done. Only 140 odd hours. And 6 months of my life. And at least one sleepless night, because I was staying up until 2 AM just to make sure renders got off properly a few nights ago. But it's done. Ugh. Alright, okay. I'm glad for it to be done, but I know that the work still isn't finished because I need to do some more breakdown images and type stuff up. But yeah, we're getting there. Congrats to making it to the end. If anyone's watching this, obviously way after stream, which is probably most of the people who end up watching it, want to post this. Like whenever I post the final video for a series and then post the final work, it tends to get like a boost in views a few days later. But yeah, I guess I can very quickly show you guys the concept art for the next project. So I'm working with a student called Katie Kerr. At least I'm assuming that's how her name is pronounced. I need to double check with her actually. I only ever spoke to her on Discord with a text. But she's really, really good concept artist. She did a character sketch a little while ago, which was full color with composition, and so I've asked her to do like a turnaround for me to model. Obviously, there's some elements that don't line up perfectly, but you know, I've chatted to her about that. And there's stuff I don't really care about to fix, so I'll just kind of fix it in 3D. And there's some stuff that she's going to revisit, as well as do some more close-up stuff, like the face. But yeah, so this is the next character we're going to make. Full body. It's more of a clothing study than anything else, although doing these eyes from the side view is going to be really cool. But yeah, so this is the next project, which will take up the next 6 months of my life. You'd like to see a katana setup? I can show you the katana setup. Let me just save this guy. And let's get this. Let's give katana a moment. Just waiting for it to pop up. Come on, katana. You can do it. I believe in you. Did it die? Oh no, there we go. It's coming back. Okay. So, katana setup. Open recent. Ignore this. That was broken. 25. In fact, no. They were the same. It's just one node was disabled, so I'll go back to that. I rendered the entire like 3 things, which is 6 hours of rendering, 1 image at a time. But what do I call it? I didn't realize one of my nodes was turned off. So this one, that motherfucker right there, caused me to lose 6 hours. But yeah, so okay. Is there anything specifically you want to see about the katana setup? Because obviously there's quite a lot that I could show, and you know, I mean, you're not going to care about an import-o-matic, for example. So is there anything that you want to see, just like general workflow, or but yeah, I guess for now, I'll just walk through what my graph is doing. So importing the object is just an alembic with all the geometries I need. I have my Yeti nodes. So Arnold is really, really nice in that it comes with XGen and Yeti nodes to help you load in your grooms and have some procedural control. So I'm going to use Action for the next project. So I've got to learn what all this does. But the just generally template, yeah. So got all the different Yeti nodes in there, which are just loading DRM files. Gives me a ton of control. I can still change densities and that sort of stuff. I've got a switch to change between eyes that have been posed and eyes that have not been posed. So that bit functionally can be ignored because I ended up not using iPose. I'm then going in and setting up my mesh attributes, which actually... There we go. I'm just going to quickly do that. So starting off, I'm setting an asset texture path. So what I've done is I've set this here. And this is just to tell... I use this to tell Katana where my texture folders are. Oh Jesus, yeah, go to bed, Oscar. Thanks for stopping by, man. Don't worry, I will get the Discord done soon. But yes, I've got this asset texture path, which just assigns this attribute to the meshes I've selected, which in this case are everything in parallel group, which actually this isn't functioning anymore, I guess. Yeah, I never used that. Huh, okay. So this can be ignored. Changing my all my surface stuff, setting up my eyes for rendering because there's a volume and some curves in there. Visibility, quick tip on eyes. The meniscus works so much better when it's only visible to the camera. Like, it shouldn't be visible at all in diffuse or spec or anything. It's only visible directly to the camera, so it just allows you to get the spec hits without affecting how the eye itself shades behind it. It removes that kind of dark shadow effect. Subsurface set, which is just selecting a bunch of geometries for subsurface. So I want the eye cornea and the body geo to share subsurface. And then duplicate my coat, name one to volume so that I can set one up to render as a smoke and one to set up as a surface. And then move on to shading. The way that I've set mine up is I have a base material, which is just a generic grey with a slight speck, and a different network material create for each category of materials. So I've got debug materials, which is just wireframe and some UV previews. Skin materials, which is, I think in this case, just the skin and the caruncula. Groom materials, clothing materials, and eye materials. Eye materials is quite a few. This is specific to my setup, so basically I've got eye volumes, and I wanted to have one master shader, which I can change, you know, the density of the iris and all that sort of stuff, and it will apply to both eyes. But I need them to both use different cameras for the projection. So I get the eye material, duplicate it out, so it's iris stroma. I'm creating a child material called iris stroma left and iris stroma right, and then just doing a network edit to go in, and all this does, like the only thing this does, is goes into the camera projection node and just sets the camera projection to be different. So it changes this to be the left projection for the left eye and right projection for the right eye. And that's the only thing it does. However, this does break the scene occasionally. So use that at your own risk. I don't know what it is. Foundry don't yet know either. I need to send it to the support team for them to have a proper look. But yeah, so merge all these together. Network material create. Network. Not even network. Material assign. Color coded to which one of these nodes it came from. So the skin materials are both red. The eye materials are all blue. Clothing materials are all purple, and the groom materials are all green. Camera create. This is just a generic camera, I think. Oh, this is a projection for the smoke. Okay, so this is a camera set up specifically to control some stuff back here in the smoke material. Render cams, each one having its depth of field set here. Render globals, I've got my interactive filters, so I've got some very basic filters, one to disable smoothing in all geometries, one to disable camera settings, which I don't think I ever actually finished setting up, so this just kind of exists, but it's not working. Grey shade all, which just assigns a grey material, and prune grooms just to remove all the grooms. Got my images to do lens effects if I want to, which I never want to, but it's there. I also have Lentil Xenos plugin, but I never got it to work, and it would have been nice to use that, but just couldn't get it going. AOVs, and then some more stuff for the images. And then I've got all the backdrop nodes down here. So these first three were being used for majority of the project, and then at the end I've just done these three. The only difference is the lighting setup for each one. So each one has a different gaffer, and the left node renders all the geometries, and the right node renders just the smoke. And that applies to each of them. So it just prints out, so I can just hit render here, render here, render here, all that stuff. And only one of them had its smoke rendered, which is this guy. And again, in this case, it's just rendering that or rendering that. They did originally render together, and they still can. I just have it disabled. The reason I disabled it is because at half res, my render time for the head and the clothing was 40 minutes, and render time for the smoke was 35 or 45, one of those two. But when I rendered them together, my render time was like upwards of 4 hours, and that's at half res. So rather than blend them in the shader itself, I just did a roto. But literally the only difference is that I removed the transparency map from the clothing and did a roto in here. This is still blended, so there's a map that drives displacement of this volume, so it's actually rendered as a volume the whole way through. And I just had a camera projection to say, hey, at this point it's cloth, and at this point it's smoke, with a nice ramp to allow me to do more displacement towards the outside of the image. Which I quite like the effect it gives. But yeah, rendering heavily displaced cloth with groom, with subsurface, with transparency over a smoke which is displaced is a very, very heavy shader. So yeah, I had to split them out. The render difference was huge, and the actual quality difference wasn't worth it. Like, they did blend well. You can actually see where I blended to, because I had my shader set up to like not displace it to this point. But I kind of like the notch that gives, so I've kept it. But yeah, it worked, and then I just didn't want to do it anymore. But yeah, that's the outline of my setup. I have also got my thumbnails for each of these. Basically, just when I've rendered something, I put a thumbnail of that render below the render node, so I can quickly look at it and know exactly what it is at a glance. Granted, these are all the same face, so it's not as effective as it could be. But yeah, so, and then I guess eye materials are the most interesting aspect of this project. There's quite a few. I am working on a video to explain my eye setup, because I'm pretty happy with it. I've pushed quite a lot of stuff. But fundamentally, I've constructed an eye. It's primarily the same as my old setup. So we've got cornea, we've got fluid, we've got a lens, and we've got meniscus. So cornea is obviously the clear bit at the front, and the sclera in this case. Like it's one shader for both, so that we can have a smooth transition in geometry. We have the fluid, which is just a fluid material. We've got the eye lens, one material for the red eye effect and one for no red eye effect. So the difference between these it's not adding emission, it's not adding energy. This one's just more tinted in the spec, just to enhance it. Both of them do give red eye effect, like when the camera is at the right angle. So this shader is actually assigned for all of these renders. So even when you're not getting the red eye, it's still that red eye shader. I just want to be clear that I'm not like throwing emission on there and be like, look, I've got a red eye effect. The bit where the setup changes is iris back and iris stroma and iris fibers. So the iris I've constructed with a geometry for the back of the iris, a geometry for the front, or the stroma, that's the coloured bit, and we've got a groom in there as well, just to kind of do some of the fibers. The eye, a few misconceptions about it. So the eye isn't really a surface, nor is it a groom. I've seen like there's a really popular LinkedIn post that went through like, oh, I've done a XGen eye. And it looks really cool, and I tried to do the same thing a while ago, but through looking into eyes, that's just not what they're made of. The stroma is more closely approximated as like a sponge, which happens to have fibers flowing through it. Sponge is easiest to shade as a volume, so I set up a volume. The reason I've got a back to the iris is because your iris actually has two layers, with the back being heavily pigmented, so that light cannot get through your eye at all, because otherwise people with blue eyes would have a terrible time. Like Becca, she would be blind if she didn't have the back of her iris. I'm explaining eyes. So Becca's got very blue eyes, so if the back of the iris wasn't heavily pigmented, more light would go through her eye, which would make it really hard for it to focus. So there's quite a lot of different aspects to it, which are really, really fun to look into. I've watched too many medical dissections, though, for a healthy human. So I'm trying to distill all the information, put it into a single video, which just walks through the theory of it, rather than just, hey, plug this into that, and then, step 1, 2, 3, and you eventually get an eye. Like, I'm just trying to explain the anatomy and the approaches. But yeah, so hopefully that's done within the next few weeks, because I recorded most of it, but then I don't really like the way it flows. But yeah, that's my entire katana setup in a roundabout way. I'm going to save this scene, because I have fixed something. Close that. But yeah, so I'm going to get these rendered out. And then there's one more image I want to make, which is just a breakdown for the groom. I'm going to attempt to get the guide curves rendering in Katana, so that I can like give them a glow shader and have some kind of cool effect with that. If I can't get that working, then it'll just be these 4 images that are posted, unless I just get lazy and decide not to do it. But yeah, this will be an art station within the next few days. I just need to type some stuff up. Fantastic work, thanks man. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm wondering, should I add this? Like, I need to refine the edge. I'll do this off stream, but like I might play about with having this, because I quite like that as an image. It's a callback to a project I did a long time ago, which had like the concepts for it had just colored eyes and everything else is black and white. But yeah, so I'm going to call that. That's the stream over, unless there's any more questions. Thank you for stopping by, and thanks Jonathan for all the help in this stream. The mirroring thing pointed out a really big problem in my groom, which I'm kind of tempted to fix before I send any demo files out. But yeah, so assuming there's no questions, I'm just going to end the stream. I'll give it like a minute. And it's finally done. Very quickly resize that. There we go. Cool. Well, in that case, I'm going to end it here. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. And next stream series will be a week, 2 weeks. And we'll be doing a full character. So a lot to learn on that one. A lot of cloth. But yeah, I'll hopefully see you there. And have a good night. Bye, guys.